So for this recipe, you're going to need 5 pounds of ground chuck or ground beef. I will tell you though that the ground chuck works much better and you have a lot less grease drippings into your pan. We're going to take 5 tablespoons of Morton's Tender Quick curing salt. So I transferred it to this bag because the bag that it comes in doesn't seal up, but I will show you what that looks like. So we're just going to use 5 full tablespoons of that.
We're also going to need whole peppercorn. So I'm going to go in with 5 tablespoons of whole peppercorn. You don't have to use this much if you don't like a lot of pepper, but I will tell you it gives it such a nice flavor as it cooks through. And since they are whole peppercorns, when you slice this up and you're eating it, you can pull a couple of out before you take a bite. I think I'm going to leave it at 4 this year. You're going to need a full tablespoon of garlic powder. And I like just a little pinch more because I like garlic. Next is a full tablespoon of mustard seed. Make sure not to use ground mustard, it must be mustard seed. And I apologize if you hear the dog eating in the background. She is pretty obnoxious, she inhales it. And so we're gonna go in with about a half a tablespoon, give or take, what falls out the edges of crushed red pepper. And if you don't like spice, you do not have to add this at all. This is just, I mean, it's part of the recipe, but it's not going to affect how it turns out. It just won't have a spice to it. So if black pepper is plenty for you, then I say just roll with that. And that's basically it, guys. I'm going to put these gloves on and I'm going to mix it up. So I'll mix it up and cover it up today, and I'll have to go in for the next 4 days and give it another mix. And then on the 5th day, we're going to bake it, and it's going to be an all-day 8-hour bake, and let me tell you guys, it is worth it. So I'm just going to start mixing. If you don't like touching meat, like I don't like touching meat, just wear some gloves and go in and make sure that everything is incorporated really well. And I will recommend using like the biggest bowl that you can find, because you can see here I'm struggling a little bit. I don't know what happens to my really big bowl that I usually mix this in, but anyway, just do the best you can, mix it well, get out your frustration, your holiday stress, because let me tell you what, you'll be so proud of yourself for doing this, and you will never ever want to buy any of the was it Hickory Farms that's in the mall and in those boxes and stuff like that. You'll never want to buy that, and you'll be the hit of your holiday party or just with your immediate family for making this, because if you love summer sausage, you are going to absolutely love this. I can tell you right now that I do not buy it in the store at all. I refuse to do that because it's disgusting after you've had this. It almost has a vinegar taste to it after I've eaten this my whole life. But when Damon and I got together, he told me how much he loved getting those sets every year for Christmas. You know, he just loved the meats and the cheeses, and I said, hold up, hold the train, bud. You have to seriously try this that my family has made, like, as long as I can remember. You literally have to try this. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. This is that you have to try it. So, after he tried it, he never wanted me to buy those again. I ended up buying him one for Christmas that year because he was just so dead set on having one. And like Christmas Eve and everything, after he'd processed and watched me make this, and then he went and tried it, he was like, oh my gosh, you're so right. We are never gonna buy those ever again. So yeah, he grew up loving those because I guess no one in his family knew how to make it. And if I had known we lived in the same town, we would have, I mean, I knew we lived in the same town, but if I had known that his family had never had it, I would have made them some and taken it over when I was younger.
because my mom made it for a lot of people. She would make it for church family, she would make it for our family, and you know, she would take it to like doctor's offices and teachers, and like it was just, you know, back when community was community, my mom was always doing some really fun stuff like this, and it just kind of passed on to me. So now I make this for Michaela's therapy clinic, and friends and family, I'll make them a mean cheese tray. You know, when you slice this out and you put cheese and crackers with it, it's just really nice, and it's very thoughtful. And you know, so many people are into like the sweets and everything, which I bake a lot of sweets as well, but people tend to lean toward the sweets, and I don't know, I've had everyone say, oh my gosh, thank you so much, because we're on sweets overload, we needed some savory, and you know, something a little bit salty and savory to kind of counterbalance all of that they were getting. So it meant a lot to me to be able to pass this on to other people and gift it to others. So I hope that you will take this recipe and make it for your loved ones. I mean, literally, you see, it's not that big of a deal. The only thing is, you know, remembering to mix it every single day. If you need to, just put a checklist on your refrigerator and then check it off every day. I think that's gonna do it, guys. So I think I'm just gonna cover it now, and everything looks well incorporated as much as it can be. So I think I'm just gonna cover it and put it in the fridge, and we're just gonna go ahead and mix this for the next 4 days. Today's the day, guys. We have mixed this for 4 days in a row. Today's the day to put it in the oven. So we're gonna be preheating our oven to 150, and this actually has to bake for 8 hours total. Before we put it in the oven, we actually have to get it out of the bowl, shape it into logs, and put it on a rack. I've actually got some parchment paper on my rack now, and you don't have to do that, but one, my pans are really old and gnarly, so I'm covering it up because I don't want to look at it, and I'm sure you don't either. And two, it kind of helps if there's any grease that comes out of it. Like I said, when you use ground chuck, it typically doesn't have a lot of grease. So we'll see. Sometimes it's hit or miss whether that happens or not. But if you don't want a whole lot of greasy mess, then it's kind of cool to go ahead and put some parchment paper down in the bottom of your pan. And then I just put a like a broiler rack type thing on there. It's actually the one that we will roast a turkey on. So anyway, just put whatever you've got down. You just need something where it's not going to be laying in grease. Next step looks so gross. I'm just going to be honest with you. The color of the ground beef, ground chuck, turns because of the curing salt, and it does not look attractive at all. It's obnoxious to look at. So before those comments come, I already know what it looks like. You don't have to tell me. It just looks really gross, but I promise you when it's done, it's gonna have this beautiful red summer sausage glaze on it. It's gonna look absolutely beautiful. However, not until you slice it, because we don't put this in casing. There's no casing required in it, which I'm thankful because I'm not using any intestines of any kind. But we don't put any casing on it whatsoever. It kind of forms its own edges, so it looks really awesome when you slice it up and has that rustic look to it. Just looks so awesome on a board. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started so we can get this in the oven, because like I said, it'll be 8 hours before we get to try any. So first things first, I am going to use gloves again because I do not like the feel of meat on my hands. I don't care what kind it is, I do not like to touch meat. So we're gonna put on some gloves. And I'm just going to grab a decent sized chunk of this meat, roll it into a ball, and then kind of into a log shape. So I start out about this much, and again, like I said, it looks pale, it looks kind of grody, but it is the curing salt that does that. So I'm just going to press this in really well. And then I'm going to start rolling it. You could do this on a cutting board. Kayla is watching Beauty and the Beast, Enchanted Christmas, so she's rather animated and playing and having a good time in the living room, so I apologize if there's any background noise that is obnoxious, but I am just gonna keep doing this. Like I said, it looks kind of gross, I know, but it will not look gross when it's finished, and it definitely does not taste gross. So I'm just gonna press this in and yeah, speed things up a little bit and get this done. Now we are ready to go ahead and put it in the oven. It's okay if they're not exactly identical in shape. I mean, obviously it's kind of hard to get them absolutely perfect unless you measure out the meat itself, and we just never have. We just do it this way and it works out perfectly. So it's time to go ahead and put them in the oven. Actually, I need both hands, so I'll let you see it when it's in there.
Alright guys, it has been a full 8 hours and look how amazing this looks. I told you it would have the same color as the ones that you buy in the store. And as you can see, the peppercorns are all around the top. Again, when you slice this up and you serve it, if you have it on your plate, you can just pick a piece of peppercorn out if you don't want it in your bite. But I promise you it is so good.
Here is what it looks like all sliced up. As you can see, it looks absolutely amazing. Here I have it with 3 different types of cheese, some almonds, grapes, some smoked Gouda, some Belgian truffles that I found at Aldi, and some dark chocolate that I found with some chili in it for that extra little kick. Everything here I did get at Aldi aside from the meat. Let me know in the comments below if you plan on making it, or if you have any questions about how to make it. Please feel free to reach out and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.